Hey guys, Greg here from TechBurst again, doing a quick follow-up review on my Samsung Galaxy S3 from Verizon Wireless. I'm talking only about the battery life and the reception today. I have some screenshots of the battery life, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about reception after I go through the battery. As you can see here, I got a screenshot. This is from the 10th of July, and at 6:18 a.m. that's when I will usually go around. I'll be at the gym. As you can see from here, I was on 18 hours. I was at 62%. Now the reason for this is you can see this little green line right here. That's where I ended up charging it for about 30-45 minutes when before I had to come downstairs with my youngest child that night. And so normally I would have had it on the charger all night, but since I didn't, I went ahead and took the screenshot anyway. And you know, as you can see, 51% was still standby. I believe this has to do with the LTE. Then, you know, screen, of course, usually up there as well. So, you know, looking overall, I had the screen on 54 minutes. Voice calls, I had 22 minutes calls. Later on, a little bit later on that day, around almost at 1 o'clock, I went ahead and did another screenshot. I hadn't put it on charge yet. And as you can see there, I kind of drained it down a little bit more. I did some streaming and the screen on a little bit more and quickly brought it down to 6%. As you see here, it's the graph, and you can see where it was awake. That's where I was streaming, and the screen pieces where the screen were on. Of course, you can probably see where I was asleep. So overall, you know, it wasn't too bad. I'll show you the next day on the 11th. I was on there for 18 hours, and I was at 26%. So again, still standby, dominated that. One odd thing here you'll see is Google Plus. I'm not sure what Google Plus was doing, but somehow my phone stayed awake the entire time, even though the screen wasn't on. So that definitely probably didn't help the battery. But as you can see, I still managed to get through 18 hours, and I still had 26% left. Didn't get any charging in there, so that that was pretty decent. I mean, of course, I only had the screen on for an hour. As you can see here on the 12th, I took another screenshot about 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, I had a kind of a rough night with my youngest son, so I was sleeping downstairs. Also, was a little sick, and so this was sitting overnight. And ended up at 13% after about 22 hours. You know, just pretty much normal use. Used the maps on my way home and then on the way to work that morning. Had the screen on a little bit more than the previous day. Overall, nothing out of the ordinary here. The screen was on for almost 2.5 hours. And the following day, on the 13th, that I really put it through some work. I did quite a bit of streaming. I did some gaming. I didn't actually do it gaming. I had the game running to kind of see what the screen did. I did this while I was at work, so I just kind of had the phone sitting there doing stuff. And so as you can see, I got through 10 hours and I was at 7%. So it was definitely not great. But as you can see by the awake here, that's why I was streaming for a few hours, and the other gaps on here you can see was where I had the game on the screen, just trying to see how the battery would last. So overall, I had a little over 3 hours of streaming over LTE. So I did not use Wi-Fi. I really haven't used Wi-Fi through any of this. I haven't used Wi-Fi at all on the phone. You know, I got LTE, so I'm not really worried about using Wi-Fi, and I also have unlimited data. So quite a bit of streaming there. The screen was on a little over 2 hours. Quite a bit that included the game. Well, about 21 minutes here on Shadow Gun. Some other games that were played during that time to use up the screen and the battery. Overall, you know, 10 hours. It's not great, but for what I put it through, that's definitely not normal use. And you know, a lot of people wouldn't put their phone through that kind of usage. So I'm still satisfied. overall, I'm satisfied with the battery life on the phone. I can't really compare it to any other 4G phones. I haven't had a Galaxy Nexus or a HTC Thunderbolt or anything like that to compare it to. I can only really compare it to my OG Droid and my Droid 2, which this definitely performs way better, as you can imagine. So overall, I think, it really boils down to the individual person. So, for a lot of people, it's going to work fine. Some people, may really use their phone a lot, and I might recommend them looking at the Razer Max. But I definitely prefer the Galaxy S3. I'm not disappointed by the battery life, and I'll continue to test it and let you guys know if anything further develops while I'm testing it, as I might need to do some tweaking in terms of what applications are running and things like that, as I could see from those screenshots. Now, battery aside, the next big thing on Verizon would be the reception. And I don't really have any screenshots for that because I don't really believe in those numbers. Yeah, they show the signal strength and things like that, but it really is going to boil down to what you do with it, what you do with your phone, how your phone calls are, and things like that. And I will say, since I've had this phone, I have not missed any calls. I have not dropped any calls. I haven't missed any text messages, or anything of that sort. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. And I will say, my house and even my parents' house is normally a weak spot for reception. I've noticed with my Droid and Droid 2. So, this phone definitely performs fine. Signal has been fine. Call quality has been great. Only thing I will say is the little speaker in the headset can seem to be slightly low. I don't know if it was people I was talking to were talking low, or if the volume is just a little low, and I might need to see if there's some apps I can use to, try to increase that volume past the system settings, because sometimes I could struggle to hear people, but they weren't cutting out or anything. It was really soft. So, I don't think they had anything to reception, and I think the reception is fine. I can shoot you numbers if you want to. You can leave a comment, and I'll respond with numbers I'm getting. I can tell you my worst or my best, but I really don't depend on the numbers. I just depend on how my call quality is, and if I can make calls and receive them. I also haven't had any issues with really losing data. I either have LTE or 3G. And so far, I have switched quite a bit from 3G to LTE, even on my car ride. So, that could affect my battery life to a degree. But overall, I'm satisfied with how things are going. And any of you that have your Galaxy S3 are getting it, I think you'll be satisfied. And if you would like to see anything else, or you want me to test anything else, just leave me a comment. I'll probably do some videos showing how to do simple tasks or things that people are having trouble with. I'm looking around the forums. Otherwise, I will do a video on rooting the phone and possibly installing custom firmware or custom ROMs when it gets to that point. I'm still waiting on anyone to get some results on the bootloader lock. Hopefully someone will be able to unlock it. I know we can bypass it right now, so at the very least, we can bypass it, and there'll probably be some ROMs coming. But when that time comes, I'll definitely document how to do things and put up some more videos on how to do those things and how to root and prevent as many bricks as possible. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.